What's up guys? Welcome to my YouTube channel. As you can see, the topic of today's video is behavior change and motivation. I'll start with something you most probably said before or at least thought about. I know what I need to do, but I just cannot stick to it. Most people think that sentence means they're lazy, unmotivated, or undisciplined. Psychologically, that sentence actually tells us something very specific and very human. It tells us that the person understands the goal, but doesn't understand the process of change. And before we even talk about motivation, we need to clarify one thing first. Psychology doesn't talk about good or bad people, it talks about behaviors. And a behavior is simply any action that can be observed, measured, or modified. Behavior can further be based on its context. For example, physical activity is often defined as the movement of the body that requires energy expenditure, whereas exercise behavior is often defined as the movements or actions that are planned and executed routinely for the purpose of increasing physical fitness. When people believe the problem is who they are, they often feel stuck. When they understand that the problem is what they do, change becomes possible. The first step would be to identify the target behavior, as it takes time, effort, and energy. Changing everything at once can be overwhelming, so focus on few high-impact behaviors first. Behavior can be influenced by many factors. Internal influences, for example, self-talk, beliefs, or emotions. External influences, for example, environment, people. Cultural influence, norms, and expectations. This is why behavior change requires a multimodal approach. Behavior change is a process, not an event. And it's important to understand something else as well. Behavior change costs energy. It takes effort and it takes time. And that's why trying to change everything at once may feel overwhelming. The smarter approach would be to adjust a few behaviors at a time, especially the ones that have the biggest impact on moving someone from their current stage to their desired stage. Once these target behaviors are identified, they can be approached through a structured and systematic goal-setting process. There are multiple influences acting on every decision we make, often without us even realizing it. Some of these influences are internal, things like self-talk or beliefs or emotions, or even unconscious thoughts. Other influences are external. For example, the environment we're in, the people around us, triggers, cues, habits, or routines. One of the most widely used frameworks to understand this process in the health and fitness realm is the so-called trans-theoretical model. And it explains something very important. Behavior change is not a single event. It's a process that unfolds over time. According to the model, people move through 5 different steps or stages. And the key part is that people don't move through these stages at a straight line. Most people move forward, then slip back, then move forward again. They may spend weeks, months, or even years in every single stage. The process always begins with identifying in which stage a person is in currently. And while there are questionnaires and assessments that can help, awareness and honest reflection are often just as powerful. And now let's talk about motivation. It's the key ingredient in achieving any goal, and in theory, the ideal person is someone who is self-motivated. This means someone who follows the plan from start to finish and always shows up ready to give everything they got. But in reality, that type of person is the exception, not the norm. Motivation isn't something that you have or you don't have. It's something that fluctuates, changes, and responds to context. At its core, motivation has 2 components. First, the direction, what the person is working forward. Second, the intensity, how much energy and effort they're willing to apply. Without direction, effort is scattered. Without intensity, nothing moves. Now, we also have 2 types of motivation. For example, when someone does an activity that they truly enjoy, it's called intrinsic motivation. Someone who loves running may run simply because it feels good, it's enjoyable, and not because of weight loss or fitness goals. But for many people, health behaviors aren't enjoyable at first. And that's where extrinsic motivation comes into play. That type of motivation comes from external sources, for example, praise, recognition, rewards. And here's something very important. Extrinsic motivation isn't bad. In fact, it's often necessary at the beginning of a behavior change. Over time, when someone becomes more capable, more confident, and more in control, motivation can shift from external to internal. That's when behaviors become sustainable. According to the self-determination theory, humans have three basic psychological needs. Autonomy, the feeling that you have choice and control. Competence, the feeling that you're capable and improving. And relatedness, the feeling of connection and support. When these needs are met, motivation becomes stronger, more stable, and more internal. When they're unmet, motivation collapses. And now we come to goal setting. That's one of the most powerful tools when it comes to motivating behavior, when it's done correctly. Effective goal setting starts with identifying where someone is now and where they want to be, and what actions will close that gap. But there's a catch. People resist when they're told what to do. That's why the individual himself must play a central role when goal setting. When people help create their own goals, they develop ownership, and ownership creates commitment. And there's typically two types of goals: long-term goals and short-term goals. Meaning, the long-term goal defines the outcome. They provide meaning, direction, and purpose. Short-term goals define the steps. They guide daily action and build momentum. Long-term goals gives people a reason to act. Short-term goals show them how. To whoever stayed until the end, thank you. I appreciate it. I hope this video was helpful. And I can promise you one thing, the videos will get better. So please subscribe to the channel and I'll see you in the next one.